In America, we live in a culture that celebrates speed and scale, bigger, faster, better. When everyone's in a rush, it's easy to get swept up in the current and believe there's only one right path, the one the crowd takes. But every so often, there are people who stop, look around, and choose a completely different direction. It might sound risky, maybe even a little crazy, but it's those against-the-grain decisions that often open doors no one saw coming. The three stories you're about to hear aren't legends about famous CEOs or groundbreaking inventors. They're slices of everyday life, moments where one choice to go against the crowd completely changed someone's world. Story 3. The Abandoned Truck in Colorado. Colorado, winter 2012. Snow piled high on wooden rooftops, the icy wind cutting across the face. Jack, 45, in a worn-out jacket, walked slowly through the cold. He used to be a mechanic, but had been out of work for over 3 months. His savings would barely last another 2 weeks. On his way to the junkyard, Jack spotted a 1995 Ford F-150, half buried under the snow. The body was rusted, the tires flat, the windows cracked. The junkyard owner chuckled. "You can have it for $800, but honestly, it's just scrap metal." In Jack's mind, his wife's voice echoed, "Don't take the risk, Jack. Save the money for food." He almost walked away, but another thought suddenly struck him. If I can fix it, I could drive for Mike's delivery service. This winter, there's more demand for hauling than ever. Jack straightened up and said, "I'll take it." For 3 straight days, in sub-zero temperatures, he lay under that truck, hands cracked from the cold, the smell of grease soaked into his clothes. On the 4th day, he turned the key, and the engine roared to life like a victory cry. Mike's eyes went wide as the truck rolled into the yard. "You're crazy, but I like it. Get in. We've got work." 3 months later, Jack had paid off all his debts and bought a new winter coat for his daughter. A few years later, he started his own trucking business. Lesson learned. When most people choose to hold on to their money just to survive in the short term, Jack turned all of it into a tool to earn and changed his life forever. Story 4. The Empty Box in Texas. Dallas, Texas, Black Friday. The home appliance store was packed wall to wall. Promotional announcements blared over the speakers. 70% off! Buy one, get one free. Hurry before it's gone. Tom, 42, a veteran sales associate, stood next to a completely empty display table. On it sat nothing but a sealed cardboard box and a handwritten sign, "Ask me why this box is empty." A young mom, her arms full of comforters and blenders, stopped and asked, "What's inside?" Tom smiled and spoke slowly, loud enough to cut through the noise. "Nothing. I just want to remind people that a lot of what they're buying today, they'll never actually use. If you'd like, I can help you pick out the things you really need." She frowned slightly. "But it's Black Friday. If I buy now, it's cheaper." "Cheaper doesn't mean necessary," Tom replied. "Do you remember anything you bought last year and never touched?" "An ice cream maker." "Then let's make sure we don't buy another ice cream maker today." In the end, she only bought 2 items. But the next day, she returned with her daughter, and the daughter brought 2 friends. By the end of the month, Tom led the store in total revenue, even though he sold fewer items than his co-workers. Lesson learned. While everyone else was trying to sell as much as possible, Tom chose to sell less, but sell right. His honesty created loyal customers, something far more valuable than any sale. Story 5. The Quiet Hours Café in Oregon, Portland, Oregon. A crisp autumn morning, light drizzle in the air, the cool breeze carrying the smell of freshly roasted coffee. Sarah, 34, owner of a small café, hung a wooden sign outside the door. Quiet hours, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. No laptops, no phones, just you and your coffee. Her friends were quick to protest. A cafe without Wi-Fi? Who's going to come? You should crank up some upbeat music, get a few high stools so students can take selfies. But Sarah remembered a morning at Starbucks, everyone glued to their screens, no one looking at each other, no one watching the rain trickle down the glass. She thought, if every cafe is loud, I'll create one that's quiet. Opening day, 3 customers. 2 left right away. The third, an elderly writer, stayed, scribbling in a notebook, the scratch of his pen the only sound in the room. 2 weeks later, a young mom with a baby showed up, then an art student with a sketchbook. 3 months later, the cafe was packed every morning, writers, painters, an old man reading the paper, groups of students studying in comfortable silence. One regular told her, "You're not selling coffee, you're selling a moment to breathe." Lesson learned. While everyone else was adding more speed and more noise, Sarah chose to subtract and offered the rarest thing of all, silence. If you look closely, every one of these people stood at a crossroads. One path, safe, familiar, the same as everyone else's. The other, risky, running completely against common sense. If Jack hadn't thought in reverse, he would have kept his small savings to buy groceries, surviving a few more weeks, only to end the winter like every other, broke, with 0 opportunities. But by choosing the opposite, turning all his money into a working truck, he not only made it through that winter, but built an entirely new career. If Tom hadn't thought in reverse, he would have used Black Friday to push customers into buying as much as possible, then faded from their memory like any other salesperson. But by choosing the opposite, urging them to buy less, he became the one salesperson they trusted and kept coming back to. If Sarah hadn't thought in reverse, she would have added Wi-Fi, cranked up the music, chased trends, and her cafe would have been lost in a sea of identical spots. But by choosing the opposite, creating a quiet space, she became the only destination for people craving a moment of stillness. The core difference: no reverse thinking. Short-term safety, same results as the crowd, little chance to stand out. Reverse thinking, initial risk, but the door to unique value and lasting opportunity. Reverse thinking doesn't always win, but when used at the right moment, it can be the biggest lever to change the trajectory of your life. So next time you're about to do exactly what everyone else is doing, pause for a second and ask yourself, if I did the opposite, what might happen? The answer could be worth a lifetime.